Hey kids, and welcome to the show. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about something I know a little bit about, and that is negotiating a salary, especially within the confines of the church. As a youth minister, DRE, basically anybody who works with a Catholic church, and this is going to be more specific to the Catholic church because this is where most of my experience is, and the numbers are different from faith denomination to faith denomination. So, let's start with the Catholic Church. Most youth ministry positions want a degree. They want a theology degree, philosophy degree, hope, preferably a master's, but most of the time, a bachelor's degree will suffice. Here is the challenge for youth ministers. Well, number one, theology degrees don't happen in state colleges. So you're going to be paying more for tuition. And oftentimes those theology degrees aren't in your state. So you have to fly or go to another state to get a theology degree from a decent university. That theology degree is going to cost you about $25,000 a year. Yes, $25,000 a year. And then you're going to get a job and they're going to try to pay you about $23,000 a year. So if you do the math, and I will do the math here shortly, and I'll have a part two to this video when I actually have the numbers up. But if you make $25,000 a year and you have $75,000 in student loans, you are never going to pay those off, number one. Number two, you will qualify for an eternal forbearance. And number three, if you are a responsible Christian and you do pay those off as quickly as possible, that $25,000 salary quickly becomes like a $20,000 salary, $15,000 salary. Oh, there it is. There it is. So what happens when you say, "Oh, I need a little bit more money"? Well, usually you hear this: "You don't work for the church for the money." Well, that is the most disingenuous, crappiest thing that someone can say within the church. Because let me tell you this: you don't work for the church. You don't use vocations. You don't go into a vocation for the money. No, you don't. But the church preaches justice. And making a 23-year-old, 25-year-old kid out of college work for $25,000 a year with a $75,000 student loan debt, and then expecting them to live a life of faith and joy and happiness is really difficult. So, why am I so passionate about this? Well, I'll tell you. My first youth ministry job, I will tell you my income. It was back in 2001, and my yearly salary was about $23,000 a year. That sucks. But I just came out of the military where my yearly income was about $16,000 a year. So $23,000 a year sounded huge, huge. So I accepted it. Also, I was kind of wanting the job and thought it was a vocation and said, you know what, I can do this. I can do this for $23,000. It's easy. And then I'm going to college on top of it. So I get the job and I'm in college, private college, and out-of-state tuition, even though I live 15 minutes from it. I digress. I sat down with my pastor one day and I said, I realized, because I was talking to some of the youth ministers, I am the least paid youth minister in the entire diocese. And I said, why do I get paid so little? And Father Will, I'll say this, Father Ron Will, looked me square in the eye and he said, you accepted it. We offered, you accepted, we paid you. We weren't going to offer you more money than you wanted. You have to ask for things when you want them. And I was like, really? So when I negotiated my next contract, it was much nicer. Because there's more that you can ask for than just money. So when you negotiate your contract, number one, the minimum amount of salary straight up that you should ask for is the equivalent of what your degree cost you. Why do I come up with that number? Everybody knows what a doctor is. Doctors typically pay about $150,000 for their degree. Their average salary is about $150,000 a year, which means 10% of that paying toward your student loans, you can usually get that paid off pretty quick. Not pretty quick, but you have a chance, right? Average youth ministry job or degree, $75,000. And you have a $25,000, $30,000. And they're about $40,000, $50,000 now, I hope. If you are a youth minister or DRE and you are making less than $40,000 a year, you definitely have to check out what your cost of living in your area is and see if you're not being treated very poorly by the person writing your check. So what else do we ask for? Number one, we ask for money. You look them square in the eye and say, I need $75,000. And when they say, you can't get $75,000 from being a youth minister in a Catholic church, you tell them, you want a degree that cost me $75,000. You wanted this degree. It comes with a price. And if you want me and my experience and my education, and you want somebody that's going to be here for a while, this is what I want. And then you go through and you start negotiating the other stuff, because you need to be making at least $100,000 to $150,000 a year in your salary package. What's a salary package? Well, most archdioceses or dioceses or churches will give you health insurance, and that's part of your salary package. That health insurance might be worth $20,000, $30,000 a year. So you take $75,000, add $20,000 to your health insurance, well, $95,000 salary package. There's other things. Find out what your vacation is. Ask for more vacation. I never did this, but I had a friend who was working on her master's degree, and she had a 10-year contract or 10-month contract. So she would work in youth ministry for 10 months a year, and for 2 months she would take summer school to finish her degree. And she didn't have to do youth ministry. And the parish worked that out for her. She had an assistant during those times. I don't know exactly how they did. It was a smaller parish, so it was a little easier to do, but it was done. For me, I started an itinerant ministry, and I've had my parishes help pay for those expenses, things like booth fees and travel expenses for some things that also helped with our kids. There's different things to ask for: gas cards, cell phones. If it costs you money, ask for it. The other one is the priest will tell you, well, I only make X amount of dollars. And then you can look the priest in the eye and say, yes, but you get your house paid for, and you get your utilities paid for, and you don't have a family to support, and you don't have to pay taxes. There's a lot of things. Not saying priests have it easy. I think priests should make a little more money too, but we're not talking about priests right now. That's a story for another day. But yeah, I think priests should be given a little better situation than they have. But we're just talking about youth ministers. So you take these youth ministers and you abuse the crap out of them. You work them to death. Youth ministers, DREs, they work hours. Sometimes you never see them. And there's going to be times you might be in the office 10 hours a week. But then there's going to be that time where you literally sleep in that place for 72 hours straight. It just happens. Youth ministry is a weird situation. So if they don't want to pay you that nice salary, ask for hourly. It might not happen, but there's other people in that parish that have hourly. Ask for hourly. What should a youth minister get paid? I think around $20, $25 an hour sound pretty good. So, whatever you think is what you're worth. So if you can't get more than $25,000, $30,000 a year, and it's not a part-time job, I suggest asking for hourly. So, is this video going to make any difference? Probably not. You're going to walk in, you're going to probably take whatever they offer you. So it's just the nature of the game, and they're going to give you whatever they offer you. So, just take a moment. Look at your worth. ask for what you want. And when they say, well, we can't do that, the next thing out of your mouth should be, well, what can we do to work towards that? And how long will it take us to get there? Will it take us 5 years? I'll give you a 5-year commitment if we can work up to that, or whatever that might be. Take some time. Know who you are. Know what gifts you bring. Go in there confident. And above all, and this goes for any job, whether it's a ministry job or any other job, that person needs you more than you need them. What do I mean by that? Well, as an employer, I can tell you, oftentimes employers are just as desperate as people looking for jobs. They have to fill those positions with bodies, and sometimes they make poor decisions. A little different with salary jobs, but you have to understand that to have a great situation, so you're happy, so your boss is happy, so everybody's happy, is you both need to treat each other with respect, and you both need to treat each other with justice. You need to tell them what you need to survive. Find out what your community needs. You should not be living on half of the median income of your parish. It shouldn't happen. You shouldn't have to drive an hour and a half into your parish because you can't afford to live in it. Those are things to consider. There's also things to consider when you're in parishes that can't afford someone. How do you raise money for the youth minister? Because there's some parishes where the youth minister does have to raise their own money. And once a quarter, 4 times a year, they do a little drive and they raise their money. That sucks. If you allow your parish to do that, here's the pitfall. Number 1, make sure that there's no top on how much you can raise, but make sure there's a bottom. Okay? So if you're going to do that, you need to make sure that you can do your job. So maybe the bottom is $20,000 a year and you have to raise the rest, or whatever that is. But don't let them say, well, you can only make $40,000 a year. Anything you raise after that is towards the parish fund or the general fund. I don't even know if that's legal, but it happens. And when you don't say anything, it'll just happen. So, this isn't the most exciting video, and I hope you stuck with me. But mostly, and ultimately, the most important thing I want to leave with you is this. As Father Will said, you are going to get what you ask for and what you will accept. Know what you're worth. These are his words and my words mixed. But know what you're worth. Know what you want. Know what you'll accept. And know what you'll walk away from. Till next time, work hard, be kind, and have fun.